Hey everybody, it's Master Gallengeist here, bringing you my review of the season finale of What We Do in the Shadows, Nouveau Theaters des Vampires, and this was a fucking great one. I wasn't, I didn't know what I was expecting coming into this one, but I really liked the evolution that we got of the dynamic between Guillermo and the housemates, and everything that had pretty much culminated with the trial that we had with the Vampiric Council, and what kind of happened here. So, we start off and we see that Nan Door is pretty much complaining about Guillermo. He's trying to open up his coffin and he has to do it himself. He's like, yes, he's calling him inconsistent and human. And we're like, yeah, he's a familiar. He, of course, is going to be human, and kind of complaining. He thinks he's taking another day off or whatnot. He goes to Guillermo's bedroom, sees that nothing's there, and the only thing that's left is a kind of card thing that says sorry. It's like, holy shit, damn, what's going on? So we get back into it, and we are from the vampire's perspective first. It takes a little bit before we get to Guillermo, and I'm like, well, that kind of works in the episode's favor here because we see the deterioration of the household. We see that Nadja's like, oh yeah, we're doing just fine and fine. We see candles have pretty much burnt down to nothing, and she's like, Nan Door, did you blow out the candles before you went to bed? In my room, yes, those are in the hallway. So she throws water on it. He's pissed off. He's like, I'm not gonna dry that wall. He's wearing a freaking basketball jersey. And she keeps going out. She gets into the foyer, and there's dead bodies of blood everywhere. And she's like, damn it. She finds Laszlo drinking this dude, and pretty much Laszlo's like, no, 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 I'm not going to drink you till you're dead. Just go, get out of here. She's like, all right, fine. And the thing is, Nadja's also kind of talking to the camera crew, being like, yeah, how long does a human live? 100, 200 years? How old are you? I'm like, 90? I'm 26. Oh, do you have long left to live? Showing how out of touch the vampires are with how humans live. And I think Laszlo didn't really drain the dude because he's mainly lazy and like, I don't want to deal with another dead body around the house, and they can't even figure out whose are the dead bodies and everything. We also see Colin Robinson slip and get bloodied up and everything. He's like, God damn it! We don't see him get rip roaring pissed off, but we see his agitation coming through. He's like, you guys need to clean up shit. I don't do this shit, and everybody is dressed weirdly because they don't know how to do their own laundry. They've foisted this all on Guillermo, and once Guillermo's taken out, it's like a Jenga tower that just fucking shit the bed. It's like, poof, gone. And they're like, oh shit, oh fuck. So they pretty much go and they have a house meeting, and they're like, alright then, screw this shit. You see, it's like, yeah, it's kind of cold in here because you let the fire die down. Laszlo then proceeds to go to the piano, breaks off pieces of wood from it, and throws it in the fire. And the thing is, it's how it is done and how he acts. He just goes up nonchalantly, breaks that shit off, and tosses it in the fire. I'm like, yeah, good luck with that one. That kind of has to. Hopefully, you don't care that much about it. And they're just complaining of the overall everything that's going on. And Colin Robinson, of course, was going to be going to work. He's like, yeah, I'll just change myself up and everything. But he then gets into the room and they're trying to figure out what to do, and Nan Door wants Colin Robinson to take pictures of him and send how much fun he's having to Guillermo. And then he's like, alright, I don't even have his phone number. And then we start really delving into it. They don't really know that much about Guillermo. They don't even know his last name. It's fucking insanity. And it's just like, oh god. Oh, you... He's like, alright, let me just do this. They're like, maybe Guillermo's his last name. Laszlo's like, maybe he's like Mickey Guillermo or whatnot. And Nadja's like, maybe Guillermo's his first name and his name's Guillermo or what. I'm like, oh god. He's like, alright, well let's kind of Google this. There's like about 4,000 to 5,000 Guillermos in Manhattan alone. And 4 Mickey Guillermos. And Laszlo's like, shit. While this is going on, they then get someone ringing the doorbell, and they think that the door is hexed because they can't open it, while Colin Robinson's just sitting in there being like, yeah, and just pull it. So they pull it, get what was delivered. Laszlo, of course, has to hypnotize them to forget that they were dressed in such a strange attire, because that would fuck with his vanity and everything. And they go in, they open it up, and they I'm invited to the Theater des Vampires, and it's like one of these hot kind of events, and we get this whole kind of like breakdown of what's going on. And of course, Naja at first is like, "Oh yeah, it's a really cool thing that's with vampires, done by vampires, acting and everything. It's done every 5 years from Europe and all that. It's like really exclusive vampire thing, and they haven't been there in, like we learned in the episode, like 500 years. They haven't been invited to this thing." And then we go into like the real thing. Last was like, yeah, there's like fuck tons of nudity, not just a hint of it. Full on rack boners, everything. Holy shit, man! It's just you see shit that you've never even seen before and all that, and everybody's pretty excited about this. And you're like, okay, let's kind of see how this goes. And they're like, all right, yeah, we'll go. And they're like, but we don't have anything to wear. And it's like, oh god! And like, we can't go like this. So Colin Robinson doing the great reverse psychology of making it seem like he's not going to come back, that he's probably going to get harmed and or murdered. He's like, all right, listen, I can figure out how to do the clothes thing. I just want to move out of the room in the basement. Like, yes. And Nan Door is pretty much so set on this that he was like offered his room to him. It's like, god damn, this is a big deal for vampire society. Ooh, the creme de la creme de la cream has Nadja started going into it when she was explaining it. And he's like, no, I just want to move to the other room in the basement. It's like, oh yeah, sure, whatever. And then of course he's explaining, listen, you have to make it seem like a big deal. Otherwise you do it once, you do it twice, you become the go-to fetcher. He's like, yeah, one again. And that's where we pretty much get him set up on there. We then get over to the Bronx, and we see that Guillermo's moved back in with his mother, and he's like, yeah, we're doing okay. And of course, kind of happy now, but we see that his mother's fridge has broken, and she's like dealing with all that kind of stuff. So that's where most of the comedy comes on that. She offers him food and all. He's like, no, I'll just go over and get the mini fridge that I had for my friend, even though he's dead and all that. So this is where everything kind of starts to link up. We see that our housemates have decided to go to the theater and see what's going on. It's like, yeah, here's your media pass, people. And we see them go in. And they're like, oh yeah, we see all these different kind of people around. We see even some important energy vampires as they get pretty much set in this kind of like middle seat, making all kind of jokes and everything. And they're like, all right, this is going to be pretty cool. And then we also shift over and we see that Guillermo gets into the house. He slips and falls. Like, oh god, what's with all these dead bodies and everything? And then of course, the Nadja doll with her soul, and it's like, yeah, they went out. It's like, yeah, they didn't need your ass, kind of shit. And he's like, oh, okay, that's kind of cool. He of course sees the whole thing with the theater invitation, but he holds it up to the light and sees that it's got the seal of the Vampiric Council on it. He's like, yeah, this is obviously a trap. Only an idiot would fall for this. And she's like, yeah, Dad, they kind of went. He's like, damn it. He's going to go. She doesn't think he's got his chance for success, but he goes. He gets all kind of decked out. He's got his vampire hunting shit on and kind of goes up. We see that they're looking around, but like Guillermo's like a badass, scales the building, goes in. While he has done this, we've seen that the one dude from the Vampiric Council has popped up on stage and explains the whole kind of situation. Our housemates get wrapped around with silver rope and everything as their charges are pretty much laid against them by the acting troupe as they're doing their hot takes and everything. Like, this isn't working out right. Colin Robinson, for some reason, gets a chub for his actor that's portraying him. Granted, I don't know if he's actually being truthful or if he's making the most cringe-worthy kind of thing to like siphon off energy from everybody in this fucked up situation. But the Vampiric Council member dude goes through and explaining the charges of all the vampires that are supposedly laid at the housemates' feet that they had murdered. And they're like, we didn't kill anybody. And of course they get brought up on stage and there's going to be a guillotine thing. And one of the funniest fucking thing is they had the fake housemates up there and they used the guillotine thing to chop the heads off to pretty much show what they're going to be doing. And they get them up there and it's like, yeah, we got to reset up the whole guillotine thing. It's just a funny little thing. I'm like, yeah, you fucking use the thing that you're going to kill someone with. And you essentially do the whole villain kind of thing of like, I'm going to show you how I'm going to kill you. But I got to reset this thing up. And of course, Guillermo is like watching the top on this. And of course, Nan Door's like talking about like how he found out that his familiar was killing all these vampires. He killed him himself and everything, and it had nothing to do with all this shit that he believes that Guillermo was fucking doing and not appreciating him and all that shit. And the like Vampire Council members like, man, you're kind of airing some personal shit here, bro. What the fuck's going on? All right, are we gonna like set up on this? It's like, yeah, oh, you're blaming it on your familiar. The familiar did it. Of course, we had a familiar actor come in and fighting off, and Naja, of course, is talking about, hey, that actor is actually too big. Guillermo's kind of smaller, and it's just like, and of course, they were trying to say his name, but of course, they still didn't know his last name. And we see Guillermo commenting, he's like, I don't know if they're covering for me, or if they really don't fucking know my last name. So of course, this starts once the fake Guillermo is kind of like tossed out of the way. Real Guillermo pops on down and starts going fucking ham. Now, granted, this is towards the end of the episode. I'm like, okay, how's this going to kind of work out? How's Guillermo going to get these guys out of here? And they did something that really worked out very well. They really leaned into the whole documentary, mockumentary kind of thing as a way to make sure that, yes, they have enough budget to do some kind of kick-ass shit, but that way they didn't, like, all right, we have this condensed time. Let's see Guillermo going ham and then see the kind of aftermath. So he's going in. He's using these, like, brass knuckles that have crosses on them. Very badass, by the way. He gets, like, surrounded by some vampires at a certain point and starts using holy water and everything. The housemates are like, holy fucking shit, look what's going on. He's just beating all wholesale ass. And then at some point, the person that is videotaping everything gets kind of knocked down and the camera's knocked out. And then, of course, we get the camera back up and we see that Guillermo is fucking annihilated everything going on. We see all these dead vampires. He's covered in blood. He's a fucking badass. And he's come and he has saved his friends. Notice he didn't go up and kill them or anything, or make any aggressive moves towards them. He came here to help them. And he's like, what the fuck's going on with this shit? He's like, yeah, my name is Guillermo de la Cruz, of course, of the Cross. And it's like, yeah, I would make complete and utter sense. I'm like, and we'd seen him talking about this whole balancing act of being a human familiar and being related to the Van Helsing, Abraham Van Helsing, and being a fucking good vampire slayer and dealing with that duality. And this, of course, sets up for that kind of thing because the housemates cannot ignore that kind of thing anymore. Granted, they have done a good job of this season ignoring everything, as Guillermo has pretty much saved their asses from any kind of assassins coming after him, culminating in him saving their asses from a vampiric council trap. Badassly, I might add. And it's just like, okay, this is really going to set up an interesting dynamic. Will Guillermo go back? Will he try to be a familiar? Will he just be a vampire hunter, living with vampires and just helping them out when he feels like it? Because he's like, okay, how are we going to do some ground rules? You don't murder people, and I'll keep protecting your asses from these other assholes. How you doing? We'll have to see. This sets up a lot of interesting dynamics going on, because not only has it, of course, changed the core dynamic of Nan Door and Guillermo's master and servant relationship, it also changes the relationship between Nigel Laszlo and Colin Robinson with Guillermo as well. Now, granted, not as much with Colin Robinson, because he really doesn't murder people, but he's probably like, okay, Guillermo knows how to fuck around with some shit. We'll have to see how this kind of goes. So I really liked how this kind of ended, and we'd seen the arc of Guillermo really fucking getting frustrated with the whole dynamic that Nan Door has set up with his familiars and not turning them into vampires. Now, granted, I don't know about his old familiar, if he was turned into a vampire by someone else, or if Nan Door turned him into a vampire. We'll have to kind of see, but Guillermo had been promised this and everything, and none of these promises are really pretty much coming true. He keeps getting pushed off and pushed off and pushed off. We'll have to see if he demands to be made a vampire or comes to terms with his preternatural ability of being a vampire hunter, and if that'll change his outlook on anything going forward. And of course, I'm also excited to see what other kind of shenanigans that Naja's doll will pop up in as well. It's just like, this was a great place to end the season by ending the story arc and getting us to an end point while also setting us up for some cool kind of stories going forward. And I can't wait for the next season. I'm like, take your time and make it as good as what it's been doing, because these guys are on a roll. I fucking love this show, and I just want them to do their best work. And and just have an entertaining fucking weird ass show about vampires living in a house being documented and dealing with everything going on. So those are my opinions on this finale. Tell me what you guys think in the comments below. If you liked it, if you didn't like it, if you agree with me, if you disagree with me. Also like and subscribe, and I hope you have a good day.